And the downside, of course, is that, and he takes the timeout here as the clock had been stopped on the out-of-bounds play. The downside is if he misses it, then the Cowboys get the ball in pretty good position at about the 39-yard line. That's the downside. Fourth quarter with Dallas holding the lead, and then that pick into traffic with his 4 defensive backs there. Alexander is able to pay it off on a tough run. Then it's Urban's touchdown that puts him ahead, and then that most recent of Testaverde's interceptions. So 4th down and 1 now with 2:53. Seattle has 1 timeout. Cowboys have 2 and the 2-minute warning.
I think if they go for it, which they're going to try here, I would guess it would be a pass play. And I don't know that I would feel real comfortable running Sean Alexander because the Cowboys are going to load up in the run. And if they are going to give you something, they're going to give it to you still in the passing game, not in the running game. Look how close they are to the line of scrimmage.
4th and 1. They're going to give it to Alexander. He's going to get it. And as often is the case on a play like that, when you get one, you get all of the rest.
Cowboys were in there with their goal line defense, 6 defensive linemen. We were talking earlier about Walter Jones, the great left tackle. Sean Alexander runs right in behind him.
Brown. So 15 touchdowns now for Alexander, the first man in NFL history, 15 or more in 4 straight years. And as I said, 4th and 1, and very often once you get past the line of scrimmage, away you go.
You're right, because they're all up there and they're all selling out. And if you get that crack, if there's going to be a crack, and there is that crack right there, you're going to take it to the end zone. Sean Alexander kind of had a slow start, kind of an average middle. But I'll tell you, this ending is very, very good.
And one of the reasons you'll see a guy like Max Strong get so much credit and yet be unknown is the block he threw on Roy Williams that time with Alexander cutting inside of it to score. So Dallas had scored 26 unanswered points, and Seattle has answered with 25 straight points.
You know, as you say, that's what Mark Strong is in there for, and that's the guy you have to block too, because if someone's going to make a play on short yardage or goal line, it's probably going to be Roy Williams, and Mark Strong took care of Roy Williams.
So 39-29. Cowboys 2 timeouts and the 2-minute. Seven-yard line, Richard Lee. Mentioned Sean Alexander, showed you earlier. Guys who've scored 15 or more, so that puts him into solo company, just him, and he's got a quarter of the season to go.
But he hung in there in this game. I mean, this game wasn't really good for him early. Like I said, he had to fumble. You know, he dropped the pass. Things weren't going well. There wasn't much running room, but he just stayed with it and stayed with it and stayed with it. And that last run was a big, big run.
Then he has that one caught by Terrence Copper. Marcus Trufant with the coverage. Cowboys go without a huddle.
Well, they have to, because they're thinking 2 scores now. They have to be thinking, you know, get a score, then get an onside kick, then get another score.
2nd down and 1. They get the first down. Keyshawn to the 45-yard line of the Seattle Seahawks.
You know, and I think with the Cowboys needing 2 scores, it can be a 7 and a 3, or it can be a 3 and a 7. I think if you get in that field goal range, you take that field goal and give yourself some time for another score.
They have 120 seconds to move down the field 2 times, down by 10. 2 timeouts left here in Seattle on Monday Night Football.
Head to the gridiron for NFL Sunday Night Football, where the Oakland Raiders upset their divisional rivals, the Denver Broncos, in the snow. Kerry Collins led the attack, throwing for 339 yards and 4 touchdowns, while Jerry Porter caught 3 of them, including the game winner, as the Raiders won 25-24. ESPN celebrates the Oakland Raiders, our athletes of the week.
Simply the finest football on the planet. ESPN continues full-day coverage of the UEFA Champions League all the way through the championship game in May. ESPN, the home of the UEFA Champions League.
Join ESPN for coverage of the UEFA Champions League as Arsenal battles Rosenborg in Matchday 6 action. Arsenal looking to hold off Panathinaikos for the 2nd spot in Group A. The 2 clubs played to a 1-1 draw on Matchday 2. Check the time in your area of the world. UEFA Champions League action here on ESPN. And, of course, NBA Friday coming your way as the Philadelphia 76ers. Allen Iverson and company going to Chicago to take on the Bulls. Check the time in your area of the world for NBA Friday here on ESPN. Now, for the final moments of Monday Night Football, we send you back out to Seattle.
Big catch when he needed it, but Hasselbeck was the guy that threw it to him.
You know, there's like an Irving Thalberg component to our award now. It's almost like you can't divorce the career from the game. So it's like the reputation gives him a leg up. But, you know, we'll mull it. 1st and 10 from the 45. Then he slings it outside to Jones. Julius' first priority is to get out of bounds and stop that clock. And he gets the first down to boot to the 39-yard line.
And again, I don't think that the Cowboys want to take all their time trying to score a touchdown and not leaving any time for the onside kick and the second score if you get it. So I think this is something that you keep trying to get the ball out of bounds, get the ball to the end zone. If you don't, you kick the field goal.
From the 34-yard line. Vinny, he's looking for the 7 here, and it is caught, and inbounds is Keyshawn Johnson. Touchdown, Dallas.
You know, people can tell you all the things that Keyshawn Johnson can't do. That is one of the things that he can do. He can out-jump you on the jump ball, and that's all that was. I mean, Vinny Testaverde had time. He looked downfield. He saw Keyshawn Johnson. He just throws it up in the end zone. This is just a jump ball. Keyshawn Johnson wins.
He wins with Vieira, who had the early interception, trying to swat it away and couldn't.
And Vieira was in pretty good position there. I mean, he got his hands up there too, but Keyshawn Johnson didn't bring it down to his hands.
Vieira with the point after. They don't have to onside kick if they so choose, because you have enough. The math will tell you you've got 2 timeouts, so you could get the ball back. Here's the play again.
Yeah, here's Keyshawn Johnson. He's in the slot here, and you'll see, you know, the zone defense they're in quarters, and Keyshawn Johnson just runs right by Vieira. Vinny Testaverde buys a little time, sees Keyshawn Johnson near the end zone, and just throws a jump ball up to him.
You know, that was I'm looking at this thing. Last 2 minutes, it's up to the guys upstairs. You can't challenge if you're a coach. He had 1 foot in. The hand looked like it came down out of bounds. They could have also ruled it because of the contact. You had the force out component here as well. But I'm very surprised they didn't stop play to look at that. Very.
That's something that you can't say that the coach had to do.
Now replay's telling us a leg and an ankle. All right, let's see. Here's your leg. Here's your possession. There's the elbow already in the end zone. So they can make it up after the fact, but I'm shocked they didn't stop it. And frankly, if they'd have looked at it another time, when the elbow hits before the ankle hits, he wasn't in bounds.
Not only are you shocked, but you're right.
Yeah. Well, the elbow hit out of bounds before the ankle came down inbounds.
And an elbow has always equaled 2 feet.
That's right. And a knee. And they got an onside kick and it come up with it. They came up with the onside kick. Jason Witten.
Holy moly.
Wow.
And you talk about a quiet crowd. I mean, this crowd was going crazy when the Seahawks were winning, and then Keyshawn Johnson makes that touchdown, and then this play, this crowd is in shock.
Wow.
Jason,
Witten, what a beautiful.
It's a heck of an onside kick. I mean, you want to get that thing up high. No one hit Jason Witten. He just runs right through him.
Now Testaverde is going to sling it to the outside through the hands of Jones.
I think Dallas still has 2 timeouts and 1:40. So time is not of the essence here. I mean, they can just kind of methodically move the ball down the field.
I'm just thinking as we're going through this, John, the rule says you have to let a guy in position to catch an onside kick, catch it, but he can make a fair catch. 2nd down and 10. And this is Jones to the 48-yard line. The bottom line here is that on that onside kick, if the Seattle player would have called for a fair catch, they would have had to have let him make it. But does he? No, he just tries to make the catch. So that's Witten, who is perfectly legal. Now Morgan makes this catch and is taken down after picking up the 1st down. Meanwhile, here's a freeze frame. Well, you see his ankle is up. It's not down. And his forearm is in the end zone. He was out of bounds.
But that one is gone.
Gone and not forgotten, but gone. 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line. Now Jones to the 33. And all they need is 3 to send it to OT. Dallas they have 2 timeouts.
I think what your goal here is you want to get in field goal position where you feel that we can make the field goal from here. Then you want to take shots at the end zone. You always want to give yourself a 2-way go, either the 7 or the 3.
This is another break for Dallas because they don't have to expend a timeout.
Third and final team timeout.
Marcus Tubbs
due to injury under 2 minutes.
Gets injured, so that costs Seattle its final timeout. They have none. Sean Payton going over things with Testaverde here with 58 ticks.
And now he's going over things with Bill Parcells, and I think that here I don't necessarily think you have to go for the end zone. I think you go and try and get another 1st down. Then if you get another 1st down, that puts you in good field goal position, and then from that point you go to the end zone.
Right, try to get maybe 12 to 15 yards to put Cundiff in a relatively comfortable position to send the game into overtime.
You see Marcus Tubbs there, number 90. And he gets his leg bent all the way back. Look at that. I mean, he's put in a position where a big guy, where anyone doesn't bend that way. Marcus Tubbs was just coming on for the Seahawks. He had started the last couple games, and I know they're talking to Ray Rhodes about him the other day, and he said that they thought he'd be a run stopper, and he's even given him a little pass rush now.
Cowboys home next week against New Orleans, then at Philly, then Washington at home, then at the Giants. Meanwhile, as Tubbs gets assisted off the field, they go to Minnesota indoors next week, then across country to the Jets, and ended home against Arizona and Atlanta here.
If you play up here in Seattle in the National Football League, you're always going to have more travel miles than any team in the league, aren't you?
Sure, not even close.
Well, San Diego,
they'd be fairly close, but I mean, there's no real close game for this team. 2nd down and 8. Testaverde stepping up, throw. Oh, baby, was he lucky? Ken Lucas.
Yeah, that's the thing that Vinny Testaverde has to know is that you can't have a turnover here, and you can't take a sack, and you can't take a penalty. And it's kind of tough to throw it inside. I would, from now on, from this point on, the rest of the game, I would eliminate inside throws, because that's where they're having the trouble, and they're having the trouble with that corner coming underneath, and they're having the trouble with that safety deep. I wouldn't throw a ball in the middle of the field now.
3rd and 8. Key play. Jones, 1st down to the 18, so they're in field goal range for sure now, tackled by Lucas. They still have their 2 timeouts, and Vinny's going to spend one right here.
I'll tell you, Julius Jones, for a rookie, for any running back, has really impressed me tonight. That when he's had to use speed and quickness, he's used it. When he had to run a delay and have a little patience here like this, he's had it. He always stays low. He's moving all the time, making big plays. This guy, thus far in his career, looks like something pretty special. Already has 29 carries for 181 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bill Parcells was saying, I can't have him run 30 times every game, but I think if you don't put in one of those other backs, you're probably going to have him run 30 times every game.
Well, just 29 right now.
I would bet I don't know if I would bet that or not. I think from this point on, the Cowboys are either going to throw it or kick it.
From the 17 on 1st down. Off the play, they swatted down. Grant Wistrom got a hand on it. 2nd down and 10. Talking to Julius Jones last night. He'd actually flunked out of Notre Dame a year and a half ago, but then he got his grades up. And he said, we talked to him about Ty Willingham getting fired, and he said, boy, I owe that man a lot.
Because he saved him a spot. He told him that, get your grades straightened out and you come back and there'll be a scholarship and a spot for you on this team.
2nd down and 10. Gonna give it to Jones. Through the middle, Julius Jones. Touchdown, Dallas.
Big run. They caught Grant Wistrom. He was trying to slant down to the inside. Julius Jones saw that he didn't have that hole, so he took the next hole to the outside. Boy, was that a great read.
His 30th carry of the game gives him 198 yards. He's exhausted, but the Cowboys are ecstatic. 2 touchdowns in 2:14. Cundiff for a big extra point, because that means Seattle has to score a touchdown, not a field goal, and they'll have to do it in 32 seconds without a timeout.
Vinny Testaverde raised his hands touchdown the minute he handed this thing off. You watch it right here. He raises his hands, and Julius Jones was still 10 yards from the end zone. But see, Grant Wistrom takes the inside. Now, when Julius Jones reads it, he's going to the inside. He knows he can take it up there and then bounce it to the outside. Look at his eyes. He's looking up and down, looking at seeing what's going to happen. Imagine what he's going to get, and then he gets it.
And the Jones family exultant. What a game. Back and forth. Ebb and flow.
Well, you know, we were talking about the horse trailer, and we were talking about a Seattle Seahawk, and you wanted to muse, and I'm glad you saved some time for musing.
Well, you know what? I'm thinking if this is at a racetrack, they would say on horse number whatever, jockey switch. Jerry Rice has been taken off the horse, and the mount now goes to Julius Jones.
Yeah, and I would agree with you, and that's good musing. I mean, you can't let out all your hose till you know where the fire is. I mean, you can't commit and say that this is it until it's all over.
Right.
What does Yogi Berra say? It's never over till it's over.
Well, you have 32 seconds here.
Yeah, so we better just keep on musing. We haven't made a decision yet.
A half minute of musing coming up. Maurice Morris from the 2-yard line to the 25. 28 seconds now. Cowboys in the waning minutes of the game here. You had the Johnson touchdown, and boy, won't that be talked about in Seattle all week long. You had the onside kick, which was recovered. Jones's magnificent night continues. That first down run, and then of course the touchdown run.
You know, and that touchdown run, I mean, he could have had a good run on that, like I said, when they caught Grant Wistrom to the inside, but there were still 2 or 3 missed tackles after that.
Have to go 75 yards in 28 seconds. No timeouts. Hasselbeck starts deep over the middle. Jerry Rice makes the catch, loses the football at the 46-yard line, but no, they're going to say down. The play is over, but they can't stop the clock. They've got to get up there and spike it, and then maybe one more play down to single digits. He's got to spike it, and he does it here. So barring a penalty on the defense, I don't know how they can get it into the end zone without getting it in on this play.
Here's Jerry Rice's catch. He catches it on that back shoulder, and he's trying to get it up to the front when he gets unloaded on by Dat Nguyen. Jerry Rice is limping off the field. That hurt.
So he can't be in on the final, what figures to be the final play of the game. 47 yards, 7 seconds. Out of the gun is Hasselbeck.
Keyshawn Johnson's back at safety.
Hasselbeck will unload for a Hail Mary, for a jump ball. Swatted down initially by the Cowboy defender, and the game is over. I think it was Lynn Scott who got his hand on it, the first guy to touch it. Nobody could get to Karam, and what a game. 2 coaches who know what it's like to lift the Lombardi Trophy. Hasselbeck goes back a long way, as does the family, with Parcells and his dad Don Hasselbeck. And here is Julius Jones, the sudden star. You've got Kevin Jones in Detroit. He's a pretty good running back, had a great day yesterday. And then Julius Jones of the Dallas Cowboys, the new star in the Lone Star State. Nathan Jones, Lynn Scott are all there. Hit Ingram.
Oh, right there. Ingram could have had it after all that. Watch it when it comes down and hits Bobby Ingram right there. Right in front of him.
Jeremy Urban was there, number 89 as well. And for the Seahawks, that sums up the night.
So the Cowboys get behind, they go ahead, they blow a lead, and they win it late. Great Monday Night Football action. SportsCenter's coming up next for our Latin American audience. For our entire ESPN crew, I'm Mark Brown. So long for now. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. A dramatic 43-39 victory for the Cowboys over the Seahawks.
Route 66 is called the Main Street of America. Tonight, Tuesday Night Fights has traveled down into Joplin, Missouri. This area is the birthplace and childhood home of George Washington Carver. You can visit his national monument here. Or if you're in the mood for a traditional summer spot, take a jump into the falls. Tonight, we are diving headfirst into featherweight fray. Jorge La Cierva is ranked among Ring Magazine's top 10 at 122 pounds. He says that tonight he will knock out the wild and experienced Jesus Perez. To do so, he needs to be at his very best, just like Joplin, only the best in the Midwest for Tuesday night fights. Tuesday night fights coming to you from Joplin, Missouri. We are inside this building right here, Memorial Hall. Very nice fan-friendly venue for Tuesday night fights. I'm Joe Tessitore alongside Teddy Atlas. Teddy, should be a good main event. You know, it was just last month that Vernal Phillips was here in Joplin, and he won himself a world title. Now Jorge La Cierva is trying to come to Joplin and use this as the launching pad for his title quest.
Well, he's already fought for a world title, and now, of course, he wants to get another opportunity to do that. And he's fighting, as you just said, Perez, who has also fought for a world title. So as far as experience, both these guys very experienced. As far as styles, both guys are different, and Perez has a very awkward style that La Cierva is going to have to use his experience to deal with.
Let's talk about Perez for a moment. It was only 3 years ago that he fought for a world title. Does he still have something left, Teddy?
Yeah, I think he do. I think he has the style. First of all, the style is an awkward style. Very difficult guy to deal with. He's in, he's out, he's all over the place, and he's a tough guy, and he's fought the good fighters, as you alluded to earlier. So, yes, he's got something left. The only thing I'm worried about is he came in heavy last night. What kind of condition is he in? We're going to find out in a little while.
So a very good main event set to come your way tonight between Perez and La Cierva. To start off our evening, our first fight features undefeated and untested junior welterweight Isaac Mendoza against Colorado's Roy Delgado. There is Isaac Mendoza, 26 years old, 5'6", 138 pounds, from Tulsa, Oklahoma, only about an hour and a half away from here. He's 10-0 with 6 knockouts. His last 5, well, they've all taken place during the course of this calendar year. He turned pro just 20 months ago. And from Denver comes Roy Delgado, also 26, 2 inches taller than Mendoza, weighed 139. He's 12-2-1. You see his last 5 there. It's the 2 losses that you should notice. Feels he was robbed of wins against Brad Jansen. Those consecutive draws bothered him so much that he hasn't fought since then. It's his first fight in 8 months. Scheduled 10-rounder, Kevin Champion, your referee.
And I give you guys the rules. I expect a good, clean fight. I want you to keep your punches up and obey my commands at all times. Any questions? All right, good luck to both of you. Let's go.
And here is the professional ring experience. They are the same age. However, Delgado has had 6 more fights, adding up to 29 more pro rounds. Teddy, Roy Delgado's experience isn't just seen in the numbers. He has fought against newly crowned lightweight titleist Juan Diaz and just spent the past couple of months as Diaz's chief sparring partner and prepared him for Lakva Sim. Of course, we're going to be talking about what took place this weekend a little later on, but obviously did a nice job in helping Diaz in the course of the past couple months.
Well, of course, lately, Delgado's had some problem. Hasn't won in his last 3 fights, 2 draws and a KO loss. And he's been inactive 8 months since his last fight. You got to wonder about his chin. Both his losses have been by KO. Neither one of these fighters, as you said, Joe, been past 6 rounds. So that can be a venture. That can be an element in this fight, depending on the pace early down the stretch.
Both fighters with the base white trunks tonight. Mendoza has the red trim. Delgado has the black trim.
Mendoza has been in easy. The question is he in easy again tonight? He may be. Delgado, each time he's stepped up, he's been knocked out. The real question is this a step up?
Right uppercut on the inside from Delgado. Trying to look behind that jab. Isaac Mendoza just fought here in Joplin, Missouri on June 5th. Won a 6-round decision. That was on the undercard of the Perno Phillips Carlos Bojorquez title fight.
Well, both these fighters have liked fighting at home so far. Delgado, most of his fights have been in his home state of Colorado. Mendoza, all his fights have been in Oklahoma and Montana.
And as Delgado came in, Mendoza was able to catch him with a right hand.
Being aggressive hurt Delgado that time. You like to see a guy aggressive, but he threw from a little too far away. And that time, Mendoza was able to counter him, make him pay a little bit. That's the way it looks to me so far. Delgado's going to come with it. Nothing fancy, just what you see. Chucking punches, letting leather go. Mendoza's going to try to mix it up a little bit. Fight inside in spots, but fight on the outside a little bit. Maybe be a little bit more clever and look to do some countering and get some help from Delgado. Maybe throwing something wide or from too far away. You can see Mendoza more prone to look for spots. Delgado just in there digging in the trenches, trying to get something happening.
Delgado wants to corral him into that corner there. And Mendoza able to get himself back to the center of the ring where he gets the crowd behind him with that exchange. End of round 1 coming up here.
Orbit, breaking the record in sports coverage.
Growing up in America.
She just looked at me. Now we're in business.
You don't score until you score, till you score.
Sex. It's always about sex.
It might not be easy.
Perhaps you could help me with my studies.
If you ever had a chance with Nadia, let this be it.
You're right. I know. I'm gonna do it.
But it sure is fun.
That's right, baby!
American Pie, Thursday at these times, new and exclusive on Super Movies.
ESPN 2 Tuesday Night Fights presented by Miller Lite. Tell it over a great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. It's Miller time. The rural backdrop of Joplin, Missouri. We are in southwestern Missouri for Tuesday Night Fights. A look at Roy Delgado. He's a black belt in Taekwondo. He started martial arts at age 11. His dad owns and operates a boxing and martial arts gym and manages his son's career. Punches in round number 1. Mendoza, who's wearing the white with red trim tonight. 24-14 total connect advantage. Had a 16-10 edge in power connects. 16 of 37. That's good for 43% of his power punches now.
Delgado, game, aggressive. But as I said earlier, both losses by KO. You have to wonder about his beard.
Back in October of 2002, he was knocked out in the 6th round by Juan Diaz, the newly crowned WBA lightweight champion of the world. You see the last 5 opponents Mendoza's been in soft, just a 32% winning percentage. Much better competition for Delgado. Of course, Diaz highlighting his opponents. After that fight with Diaz back in 2002, they became friends, and it was Diaz who invited Delgado down to his training camp in Houston to prepare him for his title shot this past weekend.
Mendoza looks more versatile. He can do more things. He can fight on the outside, inside, can give a little bit of movement. And late in that last round, started to separate himself a little bit because of that. Maybe his greatest advantage in this fight is he hasn't learned how to lose yet.
Unbeaten in 10 pro fights, Isaac Mendoza. He says, I know that I haven't been in against the best competition, but that's what tonight is for me to prove myself and to show the country what I'm capable of.
Well, I don't know that he's in the best competition here tonight either.
True statement. But Teddy, compared to some of the Midwest fodder that he's been in against, I mean, we've made this tour of the Midwest many times, and when you look down on these line by lines and you see some of the states that these guys fight in and some of the anonymous opponents, you know they've been in soft.
Yes, you're right. Absolutely. That's why we need a national commission. You can get states that can allow guys to come off the basketball court. I've seen it. But not the case tonight. Delgado, although not a huge step up, a little bit for Mendoza, and definitely coming and trying tonight.
Body work, places a couple of right hands. Consecutive shots to the body, tries to go upstairs with the right hand, but instead it was Mendoza returning fire with a right of his own.
Mendoza's going to look to use the aggression of Delgado against him because he's a little bit better when it comes to certain kinds of skills.
Working. Good exchanges at the end of round 2.
Orbit, breaking the record in sports coverage.
أمير فيصل في بث مباشر على الرياضية ضمن لقاءات المجموعة الرابعة لكأس الأمير فيصل. مباراة ساخنة تجمع بين الأنصار برصيد خاوي من النقاط والهلال الذي ألحق بمنافسه هزيمة ثقيلة ذهابا. تابعوا لقاء الأنصار والهلال مباشرة السبت في الأوقات التالية على الرياضية.
Tuesday night fights. Good scene here at Memorial Hall in Joplin, Missouri. Round number 3 between the undefeated Isaac Mendoza, who is in the white trunks with red trim, taking on the tough Denver fighter Roy Delgado, who's wearing the white with black trim tonight. Punches in round number 2. You see Mendoza with another connect edge, 22-20 over Delgado. He didn't land a punch in the first minute of that second round. Then came on strong as the round continued.
Delgado coming in the lightest he's been in almost 1.5 years. And he's fighting like it. Pressing, going after Mendoza since the opening bell. And right there might be a prelude of what to come. He slips, but he slips because he rushed in from too far away to Delgado. Mendoza will look for that and look to counter and fill those holes, those spots. You can see Mendoza has it in his head and in his mind. The box. You see he's looking for an opening, and right there he gets it. Delgado throws from a little too far away, Joe.
Very good stuff on the inside there, Teddy, from Isaac Mendoza. He got him with the overhand downward right, and then backed it up on the inside with a left, right, and back to the left hand. Now back to the center of the ring, working behind the jab.
What was impressive to me, Mendoza was looking for that. He actually backed himself into a corner, hoping to invite Delgado in, hoping Delgado would get just a little fat with his punches.
Now Delgado scores as they're against the ropes.
He scores because Mendoza pulled straight back from too close. You don't want to pull straight back, especially with a free swing or those long punches.
Work out.
You pull straight back from too close, you pull right into those long punches. You better stay inside those shots or get out from the proper distance. See, that's the choice Mendoza has. He can punch inside the shots of Delgado, or he can box from all the way outside. So far, Delgado only has one way of going, and that's to press forward, work his way in, and try to go to work.
Work out.
That's not a good sign for Delgado. I don't think he can win on the outside. He just got inside. He allowed himself to be tied up. He must work, Delgado. He's going to be productive tonight when he gets inside. He can't get tied up. As you can see on the outside, Mendoza is going to have a little fun.
Both men trading right hands. Starting to get the feeling through 3 rounds that it is Isaac Mendoza who's clearly the more well-rounded fighter. Good exchange here at the end of round 3.
Orbit, breaking the record in sports coverage.
Well, you like football?
Orbit ESPN. Isaac Mendoza coming out for round number 4 against Roy Delgado. Mendoza on hiatus from his job as a mason and stoneworker. He's been trying to concentrate for the past week on solely boxing. This, of course, the biggest fight of his young career. You see the punches in round number 3. Another advantage for Mendoza, 28-15. Landed 42% of his punches thrown. Good main event set to come your way tonight. Jorge La Cierva against Jesus Perez. Both former world title challengers. La Cierva ranked among Ring Magazine's top 10. That's coming up later.
Matador in the bull so far. Mendoza's the Matador.
The bull Delgado, Teddy, hasn't fought since last November. He was disgusted. He had 2 consecutive draws against the Colorado fighter named Brad Jensen, the second of which was in Jensen's hometown. He was so disgusted, he said, I had to stop the sport for a while. And then just this past spring, finally decided, okay, let me get back into the mix of things.
Mendoza's showing you how important good technique is. His technique is better. Maybe his skills are better, his talent is better, but his technique is better than Delgado's, and that's carrying him. That's allowing his skills to show. That's giving his skills the vehicle they need. There's only 2 places Mendoza doesn't want to get caught. One is just laying inside, letting Delgado be where he wants to be, and letting him work without doing something. The other is pulling straight back from too close, getting caught one of those long punches from Delgado. So this is where Mendoza doesn't want to just lay on the ropes. If he's going to be inside, he wants to punch inside those wide shots.
Come on, fight out.
Past couple times they've come on the inside. You've seen that left hand tied up. This time they fight out of it.
Delgado trying to help himself any way he can. He's a game guy. He's turning southpaw.
And that southpaw stance, tries to lunge in with a straight left hand. Now back to orthodox.
Mendoza has dropped his workload a little bit this round and allowed Delgado to have a little bit of a better round, or not to pay so many prices anyway.
Orbit, breaking the record in sports coverage.
جميل كعاصمتهم، أنيق كأزيائهم، شهير كمطبخهم، خطير كجبالهم، وساخن كشواطئهم. الدوري الفرنسي كل سبت على الرياضية.
أرق السمع لموسيقى الأناقة مع دار إيغون فون فيرستنبرغ مع دومينيك سيغو مع جورج شاقرة وحتى مع أيغنر. كوكبة من نجوم صانع الموضة في مكان واحد في أناقة. الجمعة في الأوقات التالية على قناة اليوم.
In Southwest Missouri, we are in Joplin for Tuesday night fights. We want to invite you to join us Friday at 8:05 Eastern for ESPN's coverage of classic boxing. If you haven't seen it before or you want to tape it, well, here's your chance. The Rumble in the Jungle, Ali and Foreman. Classic boxing on ESPN. For more info, you can log on to espn.com. Kumbaya. Roy Delgado heading out for round number 5 against Isaac Mendoza. For the first 4 rounds, we've seen plenty of skill from Mendoza. Boxing, he's been winning the fight on the outside, and when they've been in the inside, Teddy, Delgado probably not doing enough to take advantage of those opportunities.
You can't do that if you get tied up. If you're a guy who's not as good on the outside as he clearly has shown so far, he's not as good as Mendoza on the outside, then you need to make sure your hands are free when you get in close and make the most of it.
CompuBox punch stats through 4 rounds. Mendoza landing 30 more punches. And right there, it was a straight right hand that got the attention of Roy Delgado.
The problem for Delgado tonight is his only chance is on the inside. And Mendoza can beat him on the inside too, but that's Delgado's only chance. He has no chance on the outside. The reason Mendoza can beat him on the inside, even though Mendoza might be better served on the outside, is because Mendoza throws shorter punches. Delgado's wide inside, like that, and he leaves plenty of opportunities to punch inside for Mendoza.
Get an early peek at Teddy Atlas's scorecard. 40-37, had a 10-10 second round. Other than that, everything going to Mendoza. And as they come in right there, Delgado landing the right hand. Mendoza back out to the center of the ring.
Mendoza, Joe, has to be careful. He doesn't pull out from too close. He's got to be at the end of his jab, the end of his punching distance when he goes out. If he goes out from a closer distance, then he's going to get caught with those wide shots. One thing about Delgado, he's limited in certain areas, but not in the area of trying and desire. He'll let punches go.
Neither guy too shy of getting to know each other early on here tonight. They've been throwing. Right hand backed up by a left, and both men now chucking it against the ropes.
There's 2 things that have served Delgado a little bit. One is when Mendoza has stood straight up and pulled straight out. The other is Mendoza has not been the most ambitious guy offensively. He's dropped his workload, Joe. And he's allowed Delgado to have moments. Although Delgado hurts himself there throwing from too far away. But as you can see, Mendoza's satisfied with the 1 punch. Mendoza's temperament is starting to show itself more and more. Very careful. Maybe too careful sometimes.
And as has been the case in the closing moments of each round, the flurries come from these two.
Orbit, breaking the record in sports coverage.
The level of talent has risen. The anticipation is at an all-time high. Dressed for success once again. The NBA live Saturday with the following game on Orbit ESPN.
I can't trust my mind anymore, Celeste. There's blood everywhere. I killed him. You think I killed Katie, don't you?